Hello everyone, welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. Welcome to your weekly Hindu editorial analysis. Of course, I will be doing other editorial analysis as well, but today again we have picked up an editorial from the Hindu. My name is Savitri Krishnamurthy. I teach English and logic at BYJU'S. Now, I am not good afternoon, all of you. I'm not able to see your names clearly. They're trying to, Sonali, Kratika, good afternoon. As you know, we will be doing this analysis from a linguistic point of view. That means we're going to read, we're going to improve our reading skills. Then we're going to look at questions based on what we have read, so our comprehension is going to improve. Then, of course, I will be talking to you about the vocabulary and, if possible, a couple of questions of grammar too. Hello, Abhishek. Good afternoon. All right. Are you ready to start? I will give you around 45 seconds per slide. Pratyusha, good afternoon. All right. Before we start the session, if you like my session, do press the like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel so that we will be part of this journey every week. You and your friends can all be part of this journey. All right, if you like the session. If you don't, obviously don't do it. Hello, Nidhi. All right, shall we start? 40 seconds to 45 seconds per slide. Start. Your 40 seconds starts now. Done? Hello, Rajkumar. All right. What did the first passage say? Obviously, the first paragraph is talking about some conflict. It says in the aftermath of a conflict. What happens after a conflict? We need a return to normalcy before anything else has to be done. And in order to have the first step of reconciliation, the first step in reconciliation is peace talks between representatives in society. All right, next one. Again, another 40 seconds. Done? Done reading this bit? Okay, when I summarize it, you summarize it along with me. What is he said in the second paragraph? The presence of paramilitary forces and the appeal for peace by the Union Home Minister after a visit to the affected areas have helped to decrease the intensity of the violence, though there have been sporadic incidents of violence. Okay, in some areas. But to set the conditions of peace, to have peace again, you need certain necessary conditions in place, like returning looted arms, slow and return of displaced people. Yes, it is about Manipur, but I have left out all names. Somewhere I have mentioned CM of Manipur. The editorial I have changed a bit. I've removed names wherever it is. All right. There has been little progress in terms of returning the looted arms and allowing people to return to their houses. This is the second one. Let's read the third one. This appeared in the Hindu a couple of days back, so you might have read it. Again, 40 seconds, read and summarize the way I am summarizing it. This is our first step to good comprehension. All right? Okay, start. Done. The next para. Next slide. Okay, first part he said, after a conflict, first normalcy has to return, only then any step at reconciliation can begin. First step of reconciliation, peace talks. Second paragraph, after the Home Minister's visit, after his appeal for peace, presence of paramilitary forces, all this have decreased the violence. But despite that, the conditions required to really start peace talks are still not there. Third, now he says that the union government wanted to constitute a peace committee comprising, now remember, consisting will take an off after it, comprising doesn't take an off after it. Comprising eminent public figures, that hasn't been very successful, because when they've nominated these public figures, some of them have withdrawn. They have refused to join the peace committee. And this withdrawal has been an obstacle in the effort to build peace in Manipur. Right? Next, again 35 to 40 seconds, read and summarize on your own. The cookies or representatives have said, we don't want the chief minister to be there. Sonali, only for you maybe, refresh and come, because others seem to be, is this lagging problem persisting with everybody or only you? Okay, it's okay now. Good. All right. So the other person, this is one. Cookies or people, chief ministers there, we won't join. There was another Métis civil society who said this issue is related to narco-terrorism. What is narcotics? Narcotics means drugs. So what is narco-terrorism? Terrorism involved which is linked to illegal usage of drugs. So one group said we are not going to be part of it. This is related to narco-terrorism, which the author says is unnecessary. It's a stupid excuse. And the other guys have been even worryingly specific, saying chief minister is there, we don't want to be there. So this is done. Now, the author's view has come from here. The fact that it requires the aegis of the union government. Aegis means Chhatra Chhaya, as it is called in. Somebody's sponsorship, somebody's protection. Right? So when Red Cross vehicles go, they go under the aegis of the United Nations in war-torn areas. So when the Red Cross flag is there, both sides to the conflict would say, this is not, you know, they are third party, we should not. They have the protection of the United Nations, they're working under the aegis of the United Nations. So here, It requires the work and protection and sponsorship of the union government to push for peace talks. This shows the failure of the current administration. So here the author has given his opinion that the current administration has failed. It doesn't have the confidence of the parties involved. Therefore, the last part of the passage, short one, I'll give you 20 seconds, read it. What is the author's view? So what's the author's view? It is time for the union government to think of an alternative leadership in the state. Now here we can definitely infer, we know from our general knowledge that the leadership at the center, the central government, the party which is at the center is the same party which is ruling this state. So he is saying that the central leadership must think of changing the state leadership, because the state leadership, both in the run-up to the violence and the aftermath. Now think of the bowler. Run-up, follow through. Right? Run-up before the violence, what led to the violence, and what happened after the violence. In both cases, the leadership showed its inability and its ineffectiveness to govern. And therefore, the author says probably the government should try to change the leadership in the state. Alright, so now when you read a passage like this, I have given you a lot more time than Kat would give you, but get into the habit of summarizing what you are reading. So what did we read? Now this is a very long summary of the passage because I have tried to push it exactly in the way the main points have appeared in the passage. We may, when we summarize, we may include all of these points or remove some of them. Alright. There has to be a return to a normal state of conflict, affairs in a conflict, before you can start the second process, which is redressal of the grievances. For this to be possible, peace talks between eminent representatives in a conflict are a must. In a conflict, there are different parties. We must get them all together. In Manipur, what happened? You had the paramilitary forces, you had the Home Minister. Home Minister visited the violence affected areas. He also made an appeal to peace. That helped to decrease the violence to some extent. But there is very little progress on the other side, which is return of looted arms and return of those displaced from their homes. This still hasn't happened. The union government has tried to constitute a peace committee, but they have faced problems because many prominent people have withdrawn. Second, but the government should keep persisting with this peace talks initiative. It should even consider a change of leadership in the state. Now you don't have to go back to the passage. Most questions you can answer without going back to the passage. When you are in a hurry and you are reading your last RC passage in an exam, this way of reading will help you. When you are reading a summary based question in a CAT kind of exam, again this strategy will help you. Read, try to keep the main points in your mind, and then so that it cuts down the time. Or you can look at the exact point if there is a specific question on it, but otherwise you don't need to. Alright, which of the following sets of terms best serves as keywords to the passage? This is a very common way of asking you. If you remember the flow of ideas of the passage, and CAT last 3 years, at least one passage in each slot has this question instead of main theme and primary purpose. So see if you get that right without looking at the passage. Okay, I've got my first answer as B. Into SRV says it's B. Others. Quickly type in your answers. Sonali thinks it's D. Would peace committee come before peace talks, or peace talks come before peace committee? What is the peace committee setup? The B and D are close, but what is a better option? So I've got two answers for B, two for D. Now those of you who've answered B, look at the difference between B and D and decide which is better. Similarly, those of you who've given D, does this mention the key idea better, or this mention the key idea better? That's the only difference. Oh, there's one more. There's one more. All right. The correct answer is B. Why? Aftermath of conflict is not the key word. What does he say? In the aftermath of a conflict, what is important is, so aftermath of a conflict is not a key idea. It cannot be a key idea. After a conflict, what is required? So in a sentence, okay, swinging on the branches, we spotted 4 monkeys. Okay, swinging on the branches is called a modifier. Okay, and that sentence is grammatically wrong. It shows that I am swinging on the branches, not the monkeys. But basically, aftermath of conflict is not a key idea. Therefore, first, before any conflict, you have to set the correct thing. So they want peace talks, therefore they want to set up a peace committee, but this peace committee there's an obstacle in setting up this peace committee because of withdrawal of representatives, right? Second, the author says that government should persist with this idea, but remember, there is a failure of leadership, so we want alternate leadership. Here, this is the biggest problem, that this is not a key idea. All right, so that is a better one than this. And this is exactly the kind of confusing options you get in CAT. All right, so once you understand that aftermath of the conflict doesn't tell you anything, what is the aftermath of the conflict? You understand? So that's not a key idea. All right, second question. The author says the violence in the state was stemmed, stopped, checked due to all of the following reasons except. Easy question. You want to go back to the passage? I can, but I think you will remember. The Union government's peace initiatives, the Union Home Minister's visit to the tribal areas. In order, Sonali. That's why it's called thought flow. First paragraph, key idea was before any return to normalcy. So the best key idea of first paragraph was return to normalcy. Second one, peace committee, peace talks. Third would have been failure or obstacle, withdrawal. Okay. Which one has not been mentioned? So that order is very important, because he wants in what order, and sometimes the last comes at the beginning in CAT. That is wrong. So the moment you see that question in CAT, in my rough sheet itself, I start writing what is the key idea of each of the paragraphs. When I see the first question is asking which is the order of paragraph, because you kind of get it wrong sometimes. All right. I'm getting A, C, and D. Remember, it's an except question. So he said, how was the violence stemmed? If you really need to go back to the passage. Here. One is the presence of paramilitary forces. Two, the appeal by the Home Minister after a visit. So we assume that visit also help to assuage the feelings. But peace initiatives, he didn't say. Peace initiatives happened after. So what made it, despite that there have been sporadic violence, he says. So peace initiatives is not a reason why the violence, the peace initiatives happened after the violence was stemmed. The violence was stemmed because of these three areas. Main is this and this, okay. So after his visit, he made this appeal. So we can say his visit was also one of the reasons. All right. So answer, which is an accept answer, initiative was not the reason for violence decreasing. All right. Next one. Which of the following statements is a valid argument about any conflict? Author has made a general statement about conflicts. So which of the following is a valid argument about a conflict? Means any conflict. We are not just talking about this. So author, you look at the author's views on the conflict and decide which one. Okay, read the options, give me the answer. I'll take you back to the passage after. All parties in the conflict must be equally represented in any peace commission. Ethnicization causes conflicts and hampers the process of returning to normalcy. Prominent political and civil society representatives cause conflict and often hamper the resolution of a conflict. Or it is essential for the situation to return to normalcy before any steps can be taken to investigate its causes and find solutions. These are the options for question 3. Please give me the question number and then give me the answers. So what is the author's argument which we are taking as a valid argument about any conflict in general? So if you remember, the very first statement of the paragraph is of the passage is where the author talks about any conflict, and then he goes about mentioning this in general. Okay, let me just take you back after I get the answers. Vedant says A, Nidhi says D. Please mark the question number. It's easier for me to remember. 3, Vedant thinks it's A, Nidhi thinks it's D. Others, quickly. Nidhi 3D, Sonali thinks 3A. All right. Okay, A and D. The fight is between A and D. Ravichandar, Ashwin in the team or out of the team? That is the tussle between two options. 50-50 option, like you don't know which one. All right, let's go back. Valid argument about any conflict. Remember, a conflict. Then he talks about peace talks. Here, this is the statement. In the aftermath of a conflict, whenever there is a conflict, in the aftermath of a conflict, what happens of a conflict, in the situation that follows a conflict, a return to normalcy must be a necessary basis to address the grievances of the affected party that led to the conflict in the first place. Whenever there is a conflict, we need the situation to return to normal. That is the basis for the next step, to address the problems, the grievances of the affected parties due to which the conflict happened in the first place. So since the question is not asking about this party, in Manipur the author is saying we need all party representatives of the key, the main players. He doesn't say all parties, he says the key players. So here, what is wrong with this option? All parties must be equally represented, he doesn't say. He says representatives of all of the key parties. So this is an extreme word here. Whenever you see options which have extreme words like all, never, every, equally, make sure that those words have been used in the passage. In most cases they won't be. Equally may be used somewhere. Okay, so this is an extremely worded option. These words are extreme words, not there in the passage. Ethnicization causes conflicts, he doesn't say. He says in Manipur's case, the fact that the key players withdrew shows how much ethnicization has happened. But he has not said that ethnicization itself was the cause of this conflict or any other conflict. So he says it shows the ethnicization that is prevalent. Ethnicization is the state being divided on the basis of ethnicity. All right. He didn't say prominent political and civil representatives cause conflict. He said they have to be part of the peace initiatives so that all sections are represented. And this is anyway what he has stated in the first paragraph. That in any conflict, first let the situation come back to normal. You can't have violence going on and then the government says come for peace talks. First situation has to go to normal. No violence, nothing. People displaced, people have come back home. There's some sort of calm. Then you start the next process. So that is the basis. Clear? All right. Which of the following is assumed? Now, how do you find an assumption? It is the basis of any statement. If I stand here and I tell you, I will not answer any of your doubts today, what is my assumption? You're going to ask me doubts. Then only I'm saying. So, assumption is what is taken for granted. So, tell me what is taken for granted in this statement. What are the facts you can read and take for granted in this statement? Unstated facts which you know are there in this statement, that is assumed. The fact that it requires the aegis, the protection of the union government to push the envelope on any further step on this issue also reveals the failure of the current administration in retaining the confidence of all parties. So when the author is making this statement, what is he assuming? The union government's interest in the issue is unconventional. Normally, union government doesn't take interest in violence and other problems in a state. This time it has taken, so it is unconventional. Is that taken for granted? The current administration does not have the support of all parties. All parties in the state want a new leader in the state, or the current administration's efforts to tackle the issue went unreported. What if they already took action and their action was not reported? Which one is inherent? Which one is already in this statement that the author is making? Nidhi thinks it's B. What about the rest? The fact that it requires the support of the union government to push the envelope on any further step on this issue also reveals the failure of the current administration in retaining the confidence of all parties. Nidhi, Pratyusha, Sonali, all three of them think it's B. What about the rest? Do you think all three are correct or all three are wrong? Quick, I want to see answers from the rest. Yes, the current administration has not retained the confidence of all parties. Confidence means support. Therefore, yes, B is assumed. All right. Next one. What is the meaning of there can not be any redress when groups engage in wanton and targeted violence against each other? What do you think is, how is it C into SRV? All parties want a new leader. No. Here, extreme word all. Confidence of all, doesn't have confidence of all parties means there may be some parties who don't have confidence. There may be some who have confidence. Doesn't have unanimous support. All right. All right. What is the meaning of this word? Justified, valid, malicious, or truncated. Since it's an adjective used to describe violence, you would be looking for a negative, that it would be a word with a negative connotation, right? So, malicious, unnecessary, yeah. What does truncated means? Shortened, okay? All right. Now, this is a little bit, actually I need another question on this. I have to remember this. All right. There cannot be any redress when groups engage in wanton and targeted violence against each other. The same sentence I've given. Now, redress is generally used as a verb. I will redress your grievances. Means I will look into it and see that you get justice, right? So redress is generally used as a verb. And what does it mean? Tell me. In the statement, what does the author use it as and what does he mean? So you have three words to fill in. It's used as a verb generally. What does it mean when it is used as a verb? In the statement, what does the author use it as and what is its meaning? Yeah, so actually the author, see, just like in my generation, though I think the Hindu editor would probably follow English of my generation, why in this case was redress used? My generation, have you received the wedding invitation? None of the people in my generation would tell you, have you got the wedding invite? Invite is normally used as a verb. Invitation is the noun form. Same way, here, redressal probably would have worked better. So redress is used in a verb, normally used as a verb, which means to correct, to rectify, to compensate, right? Here, though, he has used this as a noun to mean the same thing. Any redress or any remedy. Excellent. Answer is B. There's one more where the author has used the word effect. Remind me to tell you the difference between effect and effect and the way the author has used the word effect. All right. The author, oh, here. Now this, I've given the question. The author uses the term affected parties. Do you know the difference between affect and effect? And then I'll take you back to how the author has used effect. Remind me that. Do you know the difference? If you know the difference, you can answer this, you can fill in these blanks with the correct words, right? Your please have no dash on me. I am not dashed by your entreaties. Okay? Give me the answer to this question before I take you back to the way the author has used the word effect. Fill in the blanks with the correct word. Effect, affect, effect, affected, affected, whatever. Confused words? Okay, Vedant thinks it's D. Pratyusha thinks it's D. Nidhi also thinks it's D. What about the rest? It's D all over. Good. Sonali thinks it's D too. Anybody, any dissenting answer here? Any different answer here? None. Effect on me. Effect is a noun. Affect is generally used as a verb. So I am not affected by your whatever. Okay. How has the author used it though? Let's go back. Initially I had selected another I have underlined it. Not here. Not here. Where did it go? Here. I forgot there was one slide before. In order to effect the first step, how has the author used the word effect here? Noun or a verb? In order to effect the first step, how has he used the word? Generally, effect is a noun, right? Why does Kohli's form have such an effect on me? I am not affected by somebody else's form. Yes, exactly. Vedant is correct. Here it has been used as a verb. We had, our former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was a fantastic finance minister. It was under Narasimha Rao's reign that he, as a finance minister, effected many changes in the Indian economy and liberalized it. Effected there can be used as a verb. Excellent. Alright, so any question in all these exams, IFT and SNAP, which ask you parts of speech, you don't have to run away. You can answer those questions. Right. Next one. Alright. What is the meaning of conflagration? Amalgamation, large gathering, large fire, or loud noise. I'm not going to take you back to the context. You should know the word meaning as it is without even going back to the passage. Conflagration, amalgamation, large gathering, large fire, or loud noise. Question 8. What's the answer? Sonali thinks it's C. What about the rest? Conflagration. Conflagration means, where are your answers? Pratyusha, I think, got a little confused by the word here. Yeah, conflagration means a large fire. Okay? All right. What the contextual meaning of aftermath? The word aftermath has been used twice. Once at the beginning, in the aftermath of a conflict. Second time, the chief minister, arson means the act of setting fire to something with an intent to cause damage. Okay? So, on charges of arson, if you just set fire to something randomly, that's called arson. Okay? So, arson is a crime. Aftermath of a conflict, peace has to come, normalcy has to come before you can do anything. Second, he says, both in the run-up to the violence and the aftermath of the violence, the chief minister showed, the chief minister's leadership was not very effective. Right? So, what is the meaning of aftermath? Repercussions, causes, reasons, or hazards. What do you think is the meaning of aftermath? Repercussions, causes, reasons, or hazards. In the aftermath is the consequences, the result, what happens after. Good, Nidhi. Repercussions, consequences, what happens after. Cause nahi hoga. Cause comes before, Tarun. Cause and reason are the same. What comes before becomes cause. Alright. Hazards nahi hoga. Hazard means danger. Okay. So that's why I gave you the second sentence, Pratyusha. In the run-up to the violence and the aftermath of a violence. Both before the violent incidents and after. Okay? Aftermath, the word itself tells you, jo baad mein ho raha hai. Okay? Alright, next one. What is the synonym of stem as used in the passage? Stem the violence. Quickly. Long stalk of a tree, the root cause, put a stop or instigate. Stem the violence. Stem the flow of blood. Stem they use. Which is different from when we say look at the question stem. The stem of a question is the main word in the question. Okay, the key in the question. But here obviously instigate ka matlab hoga to provoke. Okay, to instigate means to provoke you, to push you to do something, to goad you to do something. Instigate nahi hoga. Instigate means to push you to do something, to goad you to do something. So stem here, stem the violence means to stop the violence. Alright? Hit a snag. Hit a snag. Rescue and relief operations in the area hit a snag because of inclement weather. You have rescue teams, relief teams, but it starts raining, so makes the work very difficult. So hit a snag means what? Come up with a plan, solve a problem, fail disastrously, face a problem. Hit a snag. If you know the meaning of snag, you will know what hit a snag means. A snag means a problem. So hit a snag means face a problem. Excellent. Answer is D. What is the meaning of aegis? We've seen it I have repeated this word many times. So what does aegis, the antonym of the word aegis? I'm not asking you the meaning. What is the opposite of the word aegis? Opposite. We are looking at the antonym or opposite for question 12. We are looking at the opposite of question 12. Assault. Assault means to attack. Pratyusha, Tarun. This is like fastest finger first. Now, aegis means shelter, sponsorship, protection. All these are the meanings. Huh? We want the opposite. Nidhi, first you gave the, now you gave the right answer. Correct. So it's an antonym. Sometimes we do not look at this. So you mark the first word which you know is the meaning and then you make a mistake. All right. Just quickly, what does push the envelope mean? There are two idiomatic expressions they've used here before I finish. 1 minute. They've used quite a few phrasal verbs and idiomatic. The editor has used. Here he has used push the envelope. If you push the envelope on something, what does it mean? If you push the envelope on something, what does it mean? Push the envelope on something. Here he is saying the union government to push the envelope on any. To extend the limits. That is called pushing the envelope. Alright, there was another very nice run up to violence. Run up to any event means the most important period before an event which finally becomes the cause of the event. Yeah, testing the limits or extending the limits. All right. Now, if you've attended my last session, we had talked about the subjunctive, right, in grammar. This is my last class. I'm not going to bore you further. Okay. There is a subjunctive somewhere here. I should have underlined it. All right. Entail. What does the word entail mean? If you make a large investment, it entails a big risk. What is the meaning of entail? This word. Entail. Somewhere here, I wanted to ask you to spot the use of the subjunctive. Then it's better, it will become easier to explain that, but I couldn't find it. What is the meaning of entail? I give you the example, a sentence. I'm making a large investment. I know it entails a huge risk. Involves, exactly. Okay, excellent. Transcends. Something that transcends your identity, transcends your political loyalties, transcend. Here. Transcends means, the associate means entail, correct. Transcends means goes beyond. Okay, we all have different political loyalties, different religious orientations, but our patriotism transcends all linguistic, regional, ethnic divisions. Transcends means goes beyond. Okay, all right. Read this sentence. The success of a peace initiative requires that all groups in a conflict are represented or be represented. Should be represented, be or are represented. That is the use of the subjunctive here. Whenever you use words like require, that, suggest, that, the verb that you use has to be in its normal form. There should be no use of should before it. We did it in the last class too. We're doing it in this session too. So remember the sentence, and then you will never have a problem with using the subjunctive. All right, I hope you've enjoyed that session. Let's look at some of the notifications that I have to let you know. We have a lot of things coming up for you. If you liked the session, do press the like button, do share it with your friends, and subscribe to our social media channels. We have a 3-day free trial and a new batch starting. Make sure you join the batch, start your free trial. If you like the trial, join our sessions. We want to see one of you here. Just join us, work hard with us, and you can be among the 99.9 percentiles. Our new batches have started. CAT 2023 comprehensive program. Link is in the description. Do join it. And if you are intending to take our courses, make sure you avail the scholarship test opportunities, a fee waiver depending on your performance. So get up to 90% scholarship on our CAT preparation programs. 25th June is the next scholarship exam. Before that, make sure you register. CAT ticket to your dream B school, a live interactive workshop, as I told you, from my favorite teacher Saral. Join that. 500 most expected CAT questions. This series is doing very well, and so is on 21st June, that is tomorrow. Our experts are going to answer your questions, ask them anything related to CAT, of course. All right, Vikrant, Saral, Gaurav, Naveen, all of them will be there. Make sure you join that. Get social, join our social media channels. Make sure you get notifications of all our programs that are there. Take all the free sessions, join our app sessions. Make sure you join our classroom courses. We have some of the best mentors, the best mentors in the industry for you. All right, I will see you again very soon, next Tuesday. Until then, stay safe, work hard, and be happy. Bye-bye.